Hi, friends. How is everybody doing today? I hope you're having a great Saturday. I think I was just a tad bit late, but it looks like no one's on right at the beginning anyway, which is great. I have been rearranging my house again because, like, that's what I do, I guess. So many things have changed. And since I've moved into this house, I was originally going to do my art out in the garage. That was not going to work. I saw, hey, who's on? Hi, Diane. Nice to see you this morning. And then I moved my art to the tiny room. That was challenging, crowded. Then I tried to move it upstairs, really dark. Tried to change the lighting. Eh, so. That was my art room for a little while. But since mom moved out, I have taken the master bedroom and turned it into an art room. So you can see behind me my cabinet with all my pencils and markers, brush markers, and all kinds of fun markers and all different kinds of pencils. All my sketching stuff is here. My fireplace, of course, for Fireside Chat. And I've even created a little prayer corner. So this is I will live in this room. I will create and I will chill and I will talk with you guys and maybe even get some small groups of people together to do some art and some art classes and things like that. So I'm excited about the potential of this room, but it is far from done. And I am also, for those of you who live locally, I am getting my loft upstairs ready to share. I need to find just the right roommate to live upstairs and share the house with me. So I have been getting the upstairs area ready, which I believe will be ready by the 1st of September. So if you know a quiet college student who really doesn't want to live in the dorm, who is looking for a nice quiet space to do schoolwork and maybe if they work or whatever, if you know a young couple, a newlyweds that are just starting out, they need a inexpensive place to stay. I have a queen bed upstairs, and it's partially furnished with it's going to have a little refrigerator up there. One of those small ones, just slightly bigger than a dorm size, but with a freezer in it. And of course, they can share the kitchen space, but it'll have a microwave and a coffee maker so that they have some space of their own and plenty of room up there to make a bedroom space and a living room space. And it has a private bathroom, a full size bathroom upstairs. So if you know of someone, let me know and I'll get in touch with them and see if it's something that would interest them. Like I say, I'm hoping to have a roommate in by the 1st of September. Be great. Move in Liberty Weekend or whatever. Okay, so that's on an aside and why I've been moving things around in my house. But it's going to be really great. And I don't have coffee this morning because I was up early. I've had all my coffee and I actually had my last cup of coffee, but I have no idea where I laid it down because I'm upstairs, downstairs, in and out, up and down, here and there. And I keep putting things down and can't find them. I'll probably find that cup of coffee later and turn it into a cup of iced coffee. So anyway, if you are on this morning, and I know Diane, you're here. I know there's someone else watching. Say hello, put something in the comments so I know that you were here. And I can say, hey, back. And if you're watching on the replay, just let me know. Hey, I saw you on the replay. And I will respond later today. So today's a busy day. I'm getting the art room ready. And I'm also still kind of setting up my bedroom, which I've taken the small room in the front. And I'm looking for a roommate for the upstairs, which I'm also getting ready. And then I'm going to head out to my favorite art wholesale store in Greensboro today to pick up some basic supplies that I'd like to have for my art students. Teaching at the academy has been really fun. I'm starting to kind of a little bit find my groove, my place, my rhythm there. And I'm happy to say that is coming together. I have some really great ideas. They're big and they're long term. So I'm still figuring out how to get them down to. So how does that play out on Monday? So I'm working on that. And also, there is something, I always say on Fireside Chat that, I'm always thinking and kind of prayerfully asking the Lord for the 24 hours or so before Fireside Chat, what shall I talk about tomorrow? What should I talk about this morning? So, I like to share with you insight on what God's been doing with me. And of course, I always hope that that's an encouragement and inspiration for some of you. Thank you, Diane. Diane said she's glad that I'm enjoying the adventure. It is an adventure. And, sometimes with adventures, you don't always know what's coming. I've tried a couple of things that clearly bombed out. And I've just twice with the middle schoolers, and I've just had to say, hey, I'm new at teaching middle school. I had this idea, tried it, it bombed. We're going to just start over, clean slate. Here we go. And they seem to be pretty cool with that. So thankfully, they're really great kids. I really love them. It's actually really fun working with the middle school kids. I'm really enjoying that, and with the elementary kids as well. So, hey, good morning, Karen. Thank you for being on this morning and for saying hey. I really love that. And kisses. I love that. My little dog. I was just saying to him this morning, he loves for me to pet him and he loves for me to scratch his belly and everything, but he is not a snuggler. If I snuggle with him, he gives me a little, and then he tries to wiggle out and jump away. So no snuggles with the doggy. So happy to get hugs and kisses from my girlfriends. That's good. So anyhow, I wanted to tell you something, talk with you this morning about something that the Lord kind of brought to my mind this week. And I think this would be something really great to talk about today, because I think we have some tendencies in this area that we should examine our hearts over. So the word that I have today is expectations. So I think this has really come to the forefront for me because as I've stepped into this new role as the art teacher at the academy, I've had expectations of me, rightfully so, different areas, right, of life. I mean, there's expectations of us as moms, expectations of us as spouses, expectations of us as Christians, as neighbors, as friends, as family members. There are some expectations of us that are rightful, and we should rightfully attempt to fulfill those expectations. But one thing that I have realized, and this is not new to me, although being put in this role of art teacher has made me realize that I put a lot of expectations on myself that in fact may not actually come from the Lord. Anybody else ever come to that conclusion? I think that it is a very valuable thing to question. I think it's a very valuable thing to question whether or not you've been in the role of mom for 30 years or whether you've been in the role of mom for 3 days. I think it is or any other role. But I think it is a valuable question and conversation to have with the Lord, because I think that our culture and society, even our religious life, because we know that our Christian walk is about relationship with Christ, and we have to be very careful about the steps we take in the religious part of that life. Okay, because there are expectations that have been put on us as children if we had any experience in a religious background. And I think that without really having conversation with the Lord about this, we can take some of those expectations from our childhood and just naturally play them out as adults if we do not have a serious conversation with the Lord. We may be adding gobs and gobs and gobs and gobs of things to our plates that God has no intention for us to live with. Let me see what you've said here, Diane. Yes, sometimes we expect too much of ourselves, or with self-doubt, we expect too little of ourselves. That's an excellent point as well. Yes, sometimes because we haven't had, like I grew up being told, and in my memory, every day of my life, which I know it was a lot, probably several times on some days, that I was stupid and good for nothing. And so there were a lot of things. Like, I wanted to be an artist. In my heart, I've always felt like I had the ability to be a good artist, but I was stupid and good for nothing, and I believed it. See, so my expectations of myself were that even if I did a drawing, and I worked really hard trying to draw horses. I loved horses. I wasn't allowed to have one, but I loved horses, wanted to have a horse. So the best that I could do was to draw horses. I even drew horses on wood and would carve them out. But you know what I did with them all? I threw them out, because my expectation was that I wasn't good enough. My expectation was that I wasn't able. And so anything that I did, I'd say, yeah, see, you're not good enough. See, you think you can, but I know you can't. Throw it in the trash. That's what I did. So anyway, that is a good point, Diane. Sometimes our expectations are that we can't fulfill something that the Lord is saying, oh, yes, you can. Oh, yes, if you would put your faith and trust in me, if you would just trust that I would empower you with that ability, you can do it. So it does go both ways, right? But I think that it is a conversation that we as women, especially in our society, where there's this somehow unspoken expectation that we try and conquer everything. And you know what? That isn't what the Lord has for us. Or maybe in some seasons it is, but I can tell you, I promise, it's not in every season. It's not. And the reason I can say that is because God made it very clear that he created 6 days and a seventh day to rest. God intends for us to have a day of rest, a season of rest, times of rest. Rest is a crucial part of our lives. And we aren't meant to be the nonstop electric train that can just go and go and go. And, as soon as they make a quick pit stop to pick up and drop off, you're flying right out. I used to live next to the train track. I mean, you could throw a stone like that to the train. That's how close I lived to the trains on Long Island. And you can see the people in there driving by, flying by every day on those electric train tracks. And those things could fly fast. You know what? We're not meant to do that. We're not meant to live that way. There are times when our days are full, and there are days that are fuller than others. But we do have to ask the Lord, what is your expectation for me today? And be willing to put aside what we think society wants from us, the church wants from us, our neighbors want from us, our families want from us, and truly do what we believe the Lord is calling us to do, and nothing else. Now that's a walk of faith. That's a walk of faith. To trust that, one, the Lord will give us the energy and the power and the wisdom to do what he is calling us to do, and to trust that he'll fill in the gaps where we're not the ones who are expected to do that or this. That's hard. That might even be harder. Let me see what you have to say here, Karen. Come back, oh me, and I will give you rest. Yeah, I think that it's a tendency for us to think that Jesus wants the same for us that our culture says we have to do. And it isn't always, they are not always the same. In fact, I have a feeling they're probably not the same a lot more than we give him credit for. I think it's a valuable question. I think it's a very needed and necessary conversation for us to have with the Lord every day, so that we begin to understand how to live our lives by faith in ways that we begin to be confident in what it is that the Lord is leading us to do day by day, and not led by culture, by our past expectations, or any of that. I think this has really played out for me in this new role as the art teacher, because I actually have found myself in the beginning, and I can honestly say yesterday was the first day that I really felt like I was me and I was doing what I am called to do in this role. And it was with my middle schoolers, and I just found myself having so much fun with them. I think I've had an expectation of what the art teacher role is supposed to be. Not that I wasn't fun before, not that it wasn't, it wasn't all bad. Okay, it wasn't, because I was still myself, but I just found that yesterday I was way more myself than ever, and realizing that in the mix of having to learn, having to teach certain specific things, within that there is so much fun to be had. And to help, thanks, Karen. I say the same thing. Whoop, whoop. I am really seeing that teaching art to the kids and having an art platform in the school. I compare it to this. This is the picture that came to me. I'm a picture person, right? I tell stories. So what came to me yesterday was this. In my situation with the children, with the kids in the art classes, I have this picture of walking into a room full of Legos and pretending like nobody knows what the Legos are. Nobody knows how to use the Legos. Nobody knows what they can do. They're just Legos laying on a table. You walk into the room, and for the first time, you have a bunch of Legos. Okay? And you just say, have at it. Well, that would be me walking in and saying, this is an art class. We're going to get creative, open the doors, see what you'd like to do, and have at it. It would be mayhem. Incredible mayhem. And not necessarily much learned, or not very quickly anyway. But what if there were some clues given or some steps given, and you picked up a few Legos and you said, these click together. This is how. You can't put a 3-dot Lego on top of a 4-dot Lego unless you put it this way. You can't expect it to line up. You can't put it right in the center. It can only go on one side. What if you say, if you just build up Legos on like one on top of the other, it's going to tower over. You can lay a foundation that's larger, start building up. There are ways that you can take these Legos and make them mechanical. Let me show you how that is. Okay, now we're going to take them all apart. Have at it. And that is what I realize is what I need to do in art, because, oh, thank you so much, Diane. I do find that I am finding a groove for myself, and I do see why God wants me in this position this year, and what my role is, what I am to do, and how I can bless the children. I do have to give credit to a lady that I've been watching lots and lots of YouTube videos. I've subscribed to so many, it's mind-boggling. But I was watching a lady yesterday who had a really interesting, she was actually doing I guess she was doing a workshop with adults, but it had to do with teaching art to children and kids, and the value, like, why is art important to our culture in this time, in this era of time? And I realized something in her presentation, that we have a lot of areas of life where we expect kids to know certain things and do certain things like this. But there aren't that many opportunities for kids to problem solve on their own. What is that going to do for this generation when they're adults? Art is. This is how much this really impacted my own heart. Art, the arts, and maybe specifically visual art, because you can be given some tools and you can be given some background on how you can use the tools this way and that way to get this and to get that. Now, see what you can do with those is a wonderful, non-judgmental, in a way that it doesn't hurt anybody. You can make mistakes, which really aren't mistakes, but you can learn from doing something a certain way that you didn't like, but you can do it different the next time. And it doesn't affect anybody except the paper or canvas you're working on. So I've come to understand that this role that I have, don't have to meet the expectation I thought that I had to have. That we had to learn about Picasso and then paint something just like Picasso did. And maybe there are things to learn by doing that, but taking it to the next step. That, okay, when you did that, what did that teach you about using the brush or the tools or the materials like that? Now, create something of your own. Or I don't know all the specific ways this is going to play out, but for me, all of this for me personally has been helping me see the need to examine expectations that I have on myself. Do they come from God? Do they come from culture? Do they come from things that are necessary? Are they necessary expectations from my culture and my world that I do need to fulfill? Because those will also line up with God. And which ones do I put on myself that God is saying, no, you don't really need to have that expectation. You don't need to have it anymore. You don't need to have it that you don't have to follow through with that expectation that way anymore. I mean, how often do we go before the Lord and say, I want to know what your expectation is of me today, or in this role today and in the future? How often do we really do that? And how often are we are we willing to let go of certain expectations when we know it might ruffle some feathers? Are we willing to do that? That's hard. That's hard for some of us to do. But I can see the Lord calling me to do that. And I think that we're being called to do that maybe more often than we might realize. And I hope that when we have the confidence and the adventure in us to explore that, to do that, those are steps of faith, and we will see how God will bless us, bless others, and help us to understand better how to live the life Christ wanted us to live with Him as the branch and He the vine. I think that we oftentimes cut ourselves off by our own expectations that don't come from God. And that is what I'm learning. And that is what I wanted to share with you this morning. I hope that it gives you some food for thought to go before the Lord yourself and say, I need to know what your expectations and your desires are of me today. Show me the ones that I had that really aren't from you, and give me the strength and the courage to live out the ones that are from you and not anyone else. Because the ones that other people have and the ones that we need, those are the ones, if they come from the Lord, they're going to line up. But I have a feeling there are probably some that don't line up with the Lord's expectations. And we can find those expectations from the heart of Jesus in the scriptures and in prayer. And we really need to be asking those questions and living them out. So those are my, that's my experience this week. That was my encouragement. And that's what I feel like the Lord is leading me to do, to think, and to question, and to pray about this week, and to really see how the Lord wants to transform me in the days ahead, as I give this word expectation some serious consideration with Him. Hope that helps. Hope that's encouraged you, inspired you, and I hope that you will take those things under consideration and counsel with the Lord this week, as I know I am and will be. And in all of that, y'all, I hope that you have a really great weekend. I hope that the Lord truly blesses you today. I hope you get to enjoy the beautiful weather. It's remarkable to me that we have gorgeous weather and it's still August. Hey! It's nice to start to get a hint of fall maybe coming in the future. So I hope you all have a great weekend. You are loved, and I will see you next Saturday on Fireside Chat.